The internet has been abuzz as Square Enix has canned multiple projects equaling 22.1 billion yen in lost costs. What does this mean for something like Final Fantasy Tactics Reborn? That's what we're talking about today. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman, and welcome back to the channel. Hello everyone, if you enjoy what I do, including my news coverage about the gaming sphere, specifically RPGs, strategy RPGs, and the like, as well as guides, gameplay, etc., then a like on this video and a subscription to the channel would be very much appreciated. Thank you so much. So yes, Square Enix is taking a little bit of a hit right now. They've been reporting multiple losses over the last year, having a number of projects fail to meet expected revenue goals, everything from small projects like DioField Chronicle and Harvestella, all the way up through things like Final Fantasy XVI and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So it's not too surprising that they're taking some steps to cut costs, reduce size, and get a little bit more focus on their more core important projects. I won't spend too much time going over what exactly was discussed, as a lot of people have been talking about this prior to myself, but the one important bit is this. At the meeting convened on March 27, 2024, the board of directors of Square Enix Holdings voted, in light of the myriad changes underway in the environment surrounding its group, to revise the group's approach to the development of high-definition HD games with the intention of being more selective and focused in the allocation of development resources. As a result of a close examination, the company expects to recognize approximately 22.1 billion yen, that's around $140 million if we're talking US bucks, in content abandonment losses on its books for the fiscal year ended March 2024. So the question has been, and the kind of panic that has been spreading across the internet, is what actually does this mean for Square's catalog? People are freaking out about Dragon Quest III Remake. They're freaking out about the potential of having lost Final Fantasy Tactics Reborn, or whatever the name of that project would be. They're worried about the continued future of projects big and small delivered to us by Square Enix. And that's what I want to talk about today, specifically the Reborn side of it. I do not think that projects like Final Fantasy Tactics Reborn, Dragon Quest III Remake, even other things like the Octopath Traveler series, potentially a sequel to Triangle Strategy, those types of things are actually in danger. What we're looking at here has been the lack of success for a very experimental period where Square Enix was pushing out a lot of smaller, lesser-known projects that still had a pretty substantial development budget and a lot of effort put into them graphically, gameplay-wise, etc. Like I mentioned at the top, Harvestella, DioField Chronicle, Foam Stars, probably another one we could add to this list. Those types of titles that had a big budget, a fair amount of production value and marketing effort and things put into them that then didn't really see the return on investment that Square was obviously looking for. They were probably looking for new games that could become potential cornerstones of the brand, things that they could make sequels for, would bring in a new audience, and that didn't really seem to happen. We did see successes with things like with Tactics Ogre Reborn, although I don't know that that would fall under the same bracket of games that Square Enix is talking about here. But it's important to keep in mind that this was a very experimental period. Things like Octopath Traveler. Obviously, one game came out, was successful. Octopath Traveler 2 came out, very successful, very well regarded. Triangle Strategy, it did quite well for itself. Tactics Ogre Reborn did quite well for itself. And these are franchises that have existed in Square's catalog for a decent amount of time, if not a very long time in the terms of Tactics Ogre, or that are coming off of a style of game that Square is very well known for, like Tactics Ogre Reborn and Triangle Strategy. Those are not the types of games that we need to worry about losing here. Same thing for Dragon Quest. To can anything Dragon Quest related would be insane, and it's not the type of game that we're looking at being binned here. So, what does that mean for Final Fantasy Tactics Reborn? Because I've actually had a number of people message me about this, at me about this, asking me what I think if this cut of various different in-development projects that we don't have any information about what they actually were could affect that type of project. And I think solidly no. Of course, I do need to acknowledge there's never been a confirmation of this project even existing directly from Square Enix. There's been no announcements, no major leaks, nothing. However, as I've discussed many times on this channel, and as other related channels and news outlets have discussed over the past couple of years, there is a growing mountain of evidence that points to Final Fantasy Tactics Reborn being a thing that exists. We have reporters like Jason Schreier, who, love him or hate him, has very good insider information, who's outright confirmed that it is coming. We've had Yasumi Matsuno having a lot of cagey, wink wink, nudge nudge, kind of hinting but can't say anything legally types of comments on Twitter. We've had other things like Final Fantasy Theater Rhythm team saying that the Tactics team couldn't do any work for that game because they were busy with their own projects. Like, there's just a lot going on. So we do believe that it is something that is in the works. And given that, seeing as how it is a part of the Final Fantasy brand, one of, if not the biggest earners for Square Enix, who know how big of a deal it would be to put out anything Final Fantasy Tactics related, let alone a Reborn style version of the game after the success of Tactics Ogre Reborn, after the success of even things like Unicorn Overlord, Triangle Strategy, etc., they would be absolutely mad to cancel that project, especially if it's been in development as long as we would have to assume it has been, given when it first got leaked during the GeForce Now leaks years ago. So no, I do not think that Final Fantasy Tactics Reborn is something that we need to worry about losing here, just like I don't think we need to worry about Dragon Quest III Remake. Those are the two that I've seen people kind of wringing their hands over the most, being the most anxious about. I 100% believe that those projects are fine. It is, and if you'll pardon the turn of phrase, because I don't mean to be dismissive towards the efforts of the people who made these games, but the more relatively quote-unquote no-name games that Square has been working on, things like Foam Stars, things like Diofield Chronicle, Harvestella, that were shot in the dark experiments that didn't pan out. Future projects like that are getting cut. That is everything that I think we can take away from this statement until we get potentially any sort of confirmation from Square Enix about what was canceled. Is that likely to happen? Probably not. That's going to be cards that they keep close to their chests, that if there's something that people were particularly interested in, they won't get blowback for it, or if it's something that they eventually want to revisit later, then they have all the information under wraps and they can do whatever it is that they want to do with it, marketing-wise, etc. So I don't think we're going to actually find out any confirmation about this, but I also don't think we need to worry about Final Fantasy Tactics Reborn. I maintain the faith. It is absolutely something that is happening. It is absolutely not something that has been canceled here. And if anything, I think it might be possible that we hear about it sooner rather than later now if there's fewer games in Square's pipeline going forward. Square has said that it's sharpening its focus, tightening the belt, hammering in on the projects that they know are going to be successful and are going to be financial hits. And that's going to be the cores, your Final Fantasies, your Dragon Quests, things like that. So I don't think we have to worry about losing these projects at all. If you have other thoughts, potentially other information, anything like that, drop it in the comments below. I would love to hear about it. And I wanted to put this out here since so many people have reached out to me asking my thoughts about the whole potential for Tactics Reborn being lost here, and I don't think we have to worry about that. I really, really don't. So table your anxiety, hold the faith. It's going to happen. I'm very confident of that. For now, though, my name has been Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman. Thank you all so much for watching. I do very much appreciate it. More videos and guides for Unicorn Overlord and Aiden Chronicle and things like that on the horizon. I just wanted to take the chance to get this information out, get my thoughts out there while it's still topical and on people's minds. So I hope you all have a good night. Stay safe and healthy out there. And remember, be good to each other. Bye now.